Hello and welcome back to Lord Fan Gaming Plays Ultima 2 The Revenge of the Enchantress. I'm your host Lord Fan. In this Ultima 2 The Revenge of the Enchantress new player video guide, I'll show everybody on how to survive the world of Ultima 2. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Do not forget the notification bell to be updated more. You're wondering, wait a sec, I'm on Earth. Minax and her foes are attacking me. What should I do? How do I survive? Don't panic. Help is on the way. So first thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is character creation. In Ultima 2, character creation is different than Ultima 1. Now some of the stats are basically the same, with exception of a few I will definitely point out. And yes, I will go over the intelligence plus charisma, why you should keep it from 40 to definitely 60 range. So let's go ahead and use this chart to show you all on the stats first. Let's go over the stats for character creation. First of all, it is strength, how hard you could hit. And yes, this time they add something else in Ultima 2, how heavy the armor you can wear. Yeah, it's a new thing from 1. So just remember, higher the points in strength, that means you do more damage and you could get to equip better armor. Next up is agility. It is the stat that determines how well you can land blows on foes. And this time in Ultima 2, this is new, what weapons you could use. So just remember, higher the number of agility points you have on your character, most likely you get to go ahead and connect your blows on foes. And in turn, your DPS goes up. And yeah, and the better type of weapons you could either buy or find that you could use. Next up is stamina. Now, after armor determines you get to if your foes could hit you or not, and when they do hit you, how much damage you could take. So, the higher number of stamina points you receive means you'll take less damage when you do get hit. Next up is charisma. Adds up with intelligence on how much you pay for items in shops. There is a threshold for that, so at some point you want charisma up, but not all the way. Now, wisdom determines how well you can cast spells with a wand or so. This is alright if you're going to dungeons mainly, but try not to get that wisdom up there. Last but not least is intelligence. This adds up with the charisma on how much discount you could get in shops. And also how much damage you could do with magic missile. Yeah, so yeah, charisma and intelligence does work hand in hand. So the next part of this video guide is the charisma plus intelligence threshold. I'm going to go ahead and put this in now. In Ultima 2, discounts work different. Yeah, it's much more different, much more complex. So let me go ahead and guide you all on that ahead of time. Now, charisma intelligence determines if you get a discount or you get charged more in shops. So here's the thresholds. Now, for example, if you create a character with the total of charisma plus intelligence at 40, this means you get a discount of 38% in shops. This does include food too. Now, at some certain point in the game, when you do get to a certain area, I'll point out later on in this guide to raise up your stats from 86 to 159. In those two stats, you get 68% discount. The very best in the game. Now, for some reason, if charisma plus intelligence rolls over the 160 and above, that means you'll get ripped off. Yeah, shops will start to overcharge you. It'll roll over above 159. So be careful on that. So when you do create a character, try to get a total of 40 in charisma plus intelligence if you can. Now, stop at 156 total in charisma plus intelligence when you do get those stats up. So just remember one thing. The magic number is 186 to 159 for shop discounts. And if you go over 160, you get ripped off. That's about it for discounts in Ultima 2 for shops. So let's go over the races, the gender, and of course class combinations and what these classes are all about and what stats you could get from each of those. Let's go over the 4 classes in Ultima 2. There's some changes in this one. Fighter, their melee class starts out with great starting strength. However, they cannot use magic at all, just like in Ultima 1 though. However, this class is actually great, I heard in so many circles, for speed runs, especially if you're not playing the Apple II version. Next up is the Thief, like the Fighter, except for less strength, a little bit more agility. They cannot cast magic. Now, if you want a challenge mode, go play a thief. Now, clerics can cast certain spells in Ultima 2. Yeah, they made some changes for spells in the game. I'll list them later on throughout the guide. And these spells, they're actually great for dungeon exploring. So if you want to go into dungeons for Ultima 2, guess what? Pick the cleric class. Especially if you play on the Apple II version, yeah, you're kind of forced to explore dungeons. So yeah, cleric is the way to go. Last but not least is the wizard. Now, they lost some spellcasting utility due to the fact that clerics have some exclusive spells and wizards have some exclusive spells too. Yet they could cast certain spells in Ultima 2. Now, they're best for the overworld parts of the game, and they're the most powerful class in the game because they have some nice offensive spells with them too. So, what about the 4 classes? I'll probably say again, fighter, great for speed runs, thief, challenge mode, cleric for dungeon runs, and wizards for being powerful and running the table on the overworld map. So next part we're going to do is gender and of course race combination for stats. Let's go over the gender, race, and yes, I'm even going to go ahead and toss in classes stat increases for character creation. Now when you do create a male character, they gain +5 in strength. Females, they gain +10 in charisma. Now humans, for races, that's +5 intelligence. The elven race, aka elf, will gain +5 agility. Now dwarfs, they will gain +5 strength. Hobbits, they will gain +10 wisdom. Now for the classes, you decide to create one of the 4 classes. Fighters will gain +15 strength. Now if you're playing the Commodore 64 version, that drops down to 10. As for thieves, they gain +10 agility. Clerics gain +10 wisdom, and wizards gain +10 intelligence. So, whatever combinations you make sure you remember that when you do put in the stat numbers. So, I'm going to give some final advice for character creation before moving on. Here are some final advice about character creation before I leave this section of this new player guide. Try to get agility at least for 21 for bows if you can go that route, or 29 for swords. As for strength, try to get to 19 for chainmail if you can. Now, last but not least, make sure charisma and intelligence is at a total amount for 40 if you could get through that for those discounts. That's about it for character creation. Next part of this new player guide is the UI. Now, before I do show you all on how to start out in Ultima 2, let's go over the UI. This is the first UI, basically the overworld menu. Now, the view right there, as you see before you, that's your character, and you can move around. Just remember, mountains you cannot get past at all. Watch out for poison. I'll show you that later on in the video. That little bunch of circles, that's towns, and then usually there's a castle shape, that's castles. And that purple water is the water, unless you have the enhanced edition by a player patch or something like that in Ultima 2. Now, bottom of the view screen is the command. This is where your commands are at. It can tell you if you're getting a combat and more. Now, let's go ahead and go over the 4 stats there. HP is your hit points. Now, here's the deal about hit points. You must make sure your hit points are really up there. If it drops down to 0, you're dead. That's right, you have to reincarnate. And most likely you lose all your belongings, but you get a set number of food, hit points, and gold once again. Next up is the food. Make sure that food does not drop down to 0. If your food drops down to 0, you're dead. You die of starvation. Now, experience points. That's the number of experience points your character has. Unlike Ultima 1, experience points is not important. It's just there for bragging rights. Last but not least is gold. Here's the thing about gold in Ultima 2. It's really important this time around. Yeah, that's correct, everyone. You gotta make sure you have gold in order to survive in this game. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to buy food. You're not gonna be able to buy hit points. And you will die more often than not. So let's get to the second part of this UI portion of this video, which is the menu. Time to go over the stats menu. So first of all, that's your character name. It says, for example, Fenton, a level 00 male elf wizard. Now weapon, that's your current weapon that you're equipping. Armor is your current armor you're wearing. Spell, that's the current spell you're equipping. Yes, you have to equip spells in Ultima 2, just like 1. There's your stats below that. Now, to the right of that, that's your torches, keys, and tools. And then after all the stats, that's how many weapons you have, how many armor you have, how many spells you have. And items, last but not least, is items that you collected throughout the game. Now, please note that for leveling your character, it's just there, just like I said before, for bragging rights. So don't worry about that at all. That is it for the UI. Next portion of this video guide is the controls, aka keyboard commands. It's time to go over the keyboard commands. So first of all, A is your attack key. So hit the A button in the direction you want to attack. G is to get items. So for some reason you have to find an item on the ground, something, just hit the G key. Z is your stat menu. This way it shows your stats, what items you have, and the number of quantities of them too. Now arrow keys, this moves you around the world, up, down, left, and right. Spacebar passes time. Also, if you don't do anything, time passes too. Be careful on that because it could eat your food up. Now R is to ready weapons. Just go ahead and equip a weapon with that command. W is to wear armor, so this is used to equip armor. E is to enter town, castles, and other locations. O is to offer money. You'll be using that quite a bit in this game, trust me. So let's get to the next set of keyboard commands. Here are some more keyboard commands. S is steal. Very useful to get free food at times. Just trust me. I'll show you that later on in this guide. T is transact. That's actually to talk to NPCs. That does include going shopping. C, cast magic spells as long as you have them equipped. I is ignite torch. M is to ready magic spells. In other words, equip magic. N is to negate time with a strange coin. Extremely useful. Yeah, just trust me. You'll be using this quite a bit, a few times throughout the game. Used to unlock a locked door with a key. As long as you have a key, you can unlock a door. Now, next up is V is the view map with a magic helm. So once you have a magic helm, boom, you get to view a map. Very simple, very easy. B equals to board vehicles. This does include ships, airplanes, and rockets. Now let's go over the last set of keyboard commands. F, fire cannons on ship. Extremely useful once you do get a ship. In other words, it's another weapon to fight against the forces of Min-X. Now next up is hyperspace on rocket ship. Very useful. Just type in the coordinates and away you go. Next up is launch/land on airplane or rocket ship. Great to know about that. X is the exit vehicle. So you want to exit vehicle, just hit the X button. K is to climb up on one floor. Now, if you are in a dungeon, you're on the level 1 fort, this actually leaves the dungeon. Now, D is to climb down one floor. Now, if you're on a tower and you're level 1, you leave the tower. Q is to save your game. Now, please note that there are autosaves when you do enter a town. So it'll save before entering a town, dungeon, or a castle. Just keep that in mind. J is jump, useless command. Y is yell, extremely useless command. Unless you're doing that, of course, in Might and Magic 6, 7, and 8. That is it for keyboard commands for Ultima 2. So next stop is how to start out in Ultima 2, the Revenge of the Enchantress. Welcome to the world of Ultima 2, the Revenge of the Enchantress. So Min-X has decided to get revenge on you by invading your world in different time periods. You've been thrust into 1423 BC. Yeah, it does look like North America, but it does connect though this time because you're in that time frame. So try to get to Alaska, then from Alaska get to Russia and get to Europe, or get to China, then Russia, then Europe. Yeah, we're using real world mapping right here, folks. Yeah, you heard me right. This game, for the most part, at least 2 of the 3 maps are identical to your real-world maps, with exception of 1423 BC, because that's when Russia and Alaska was connected. 1990, nope, not so much. They're separated, just like the real world, everyone. So we're almost at Europe. Now that's England. However, we do not have a ship yet in order to get there. Don't panic at all. we'll use another time period to get to England. So we're going to enter this town in Italy. Yeah, we're going by real world map stuff. So here's the deal. When you're in this town, Italy, we're going to say it's Rome. So when you're in Rome, you want to do is look for the weapon and armor shop first. If you want to, hit the T to transact with people. And there'll be some clues. Some of it might be time related. Like, for example, someone's talking about computers in 1423 BC. That's a 1990 thing. So keep going north. Your first shop will be the armor shop. Just remember R to ready weapons and W to wear armor. Just remember those two commands because you're going to be using that quite a bit. And we do have plenty of food to goof off in town for now. But don't goof off way too much since food will start to go down slowly. So we're going to hit T for transact by the armor. Depending on your stats, either by the leather, in my case, or the chainmail. I decided by the leather since it was much more cheap. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the W key, the W key to wear armor. And the R key is to ready weapons. So we're going to go to the weapon shop next. Now we have two choices. We get a bow and arrow or a sword. Unfortunately, in Ultima 2, the bow and arrow does not, I repeat, does not give you 3 tiles. It's 1 tile. Yeah, they nerfed that stuff. So that's a fair warning to everyone. So we'll go ahead. Next is to get your weapons. So you want to make sure you buy your weapons and armor for seriously grinding in 1423 BC. That's where you're going to be grinding at the start of this game. And this is Fire Say Me Tough. So transact with the vendor and select either number 4 or number 5. Again, I'm doing number 4 since it's less coin I'll spend. Now I have about 232 pieces of gold. This will give me enough to buy some food. We will definitely go ahead and get some hit points too if we can. I'll show everybody use some Moongates too for this part of starting out in the game. So we're almost done. I'm just checking things out. And yeah, this is a wizard in 1423 BC. So it looks like those two people belong. So once we're out of town, our next stop is, let's see if I remember what my notes say. If a Moongate appears, immediately go to Castle Bridge, spend some gold, but don't spend too much because you're going to need that for food. I'll probably say it's spend at least 100 pieces of gold, get some hit points, and then the rest you spend it on food. So let's get out of here. There, we're in town of Linda, but I'm going to call it Rome, Italy, since that's the real location. So we're going to go ahead and take these fools out. Now, be careful with thieves, though, because they could steal items from you, and there's one item that's really important. You do not want to face a thief, because at that point, if you do face a thief, they could steal that said item. Not spoiling which item it is, but you know what it is when you get the item. And already, thieves will drop items like crazy, too. You're trying to look for the blue tassel. That's for pirate stuff. So what we're going to go to next, since the Moongates are not up, is to get some food. So go south to Africa and enter this town. This is a village. Now we have arrived in this village. We're going to call it Johannesburg. Now remember this thief, because this thief is actually great when you have a whole much more hit points and food and better weapons and armor to kill you. Guessed it, for items. Yes. Thieves in Ultima 2 drops various amount of items. I'll list it in the item section of this Don't Panic guide, but still it's great to have. Follow this path to fish and chips, because we're going to go ahead and get some nice food here. You can also steal the food if you want to. So hit the transact. So we'll hit the T button and let's go ahead and do it. This costs us 52 coin per 100 food. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. Transact, hit yes. So now our food goes up by 100. We're going to do it again. And voila, there we go. We have about 400 food. That's good enough. So now we have enough food. So that's good. If we want to, we could definitely steal. We'll definitely demonstrate that later on in the guide when we do talk about food and steps. So our next goal is to go ahead and look for Moongates. Now in Ultima 2, there are Moongates, aka Timegates in this case, to get you through different places in time. Now you're trying to do is look for a certain Timegate, aka Moongate, in Europe. So there's 2 good spots. So we're going to try to wait for one. I accidentally went to the wrong one, which dropped me off at the Legends time zone or so. So just be patient; they'll appear. If you want to, mash the spacebar button to pass time, and then those so this way the moon gates will definitely appear. Now I accidentally went to the wrong one by accident. Now this one's not to use, but still it's good to know. Just remember to write down all those moon gates and their locations. And by the way, there's no set amount of enemies when they appear, so even the toughest ones will definitely appear, and the most annoying ones too. And I'm going to try to find a moon gate, of course, to get to where we need to go. I'll use timestamps for that portion for this part of the guide. There we go, and looks like we already got coins, trilithiums. That's going to be very useful later on, so let's go ahead and avoid this one. And this moon gate will lead you from 1423 BC to the Legends time. Avoid going there. Now this second one will lead you back to 1423 BC. That's the right place. So go through this moon gate. Once you do, rightfully so, you're in 1990 Castle British. So we're going to enter the main castle. Now, reason being entering the main castle is we're going to get some hit points. So every 50 pieces of gold we give the Lord British, he'll increase our hit points. We're going to go ahead and demonstrate that right now. So let's go north. Very simple. Keep on going north. Try to ignore Chuckles. Yeah, tell Chuckles to get lost. And we're almost there. Just ignore the fighter. Your goal is to talk to Lord British. So hit the T once we get to our Lord. And there we got our hit points raised by 300 by paying 50 pieces of gold. He'll tell you need 50 pieces of gold per 300 hit points. Now this will work up to 5k hit points, and then 5k to 7.5k you only get 200 up. Beyond 7.5k it's 100 up. So yeah, 7.5k is a way to go to max out hit points in the entire game. So now we're gonna wait for the Moongate to go from, yes, you guessed it, 1990 to 1423 BC. And it might take a while. Just smash that spacebar button, and then the Moongate, aka Timegate, will definitely appear. Once you're back to 1423 BC, you have to keep on killing enemies and to get plenty of food and hit points. I'm going to probably say it's 2.5k hit points you want. And as for food, I'm going to probably say is 2k food. And if you do find a ship after you get some blue tassels, make sure you get the ships. It'll make things a lot more easier. We'll talk about that in the gold farming guide. So definitely remember, when you do start out, try to hit to the town in Italy, then Johannesburg. So this way you have your equipment and food. Then try to get to Castle British in 1990 to get some hit points up. You will have to definitely repeat the food and hit point cycle until you have the desired amount of numbers you need. And yeah, you're going to need some extra gold too. I'll explain that later on in the video too. Yes, gold is king in this game. You must get gold like crazy or else you won't survive. And that's how you do start out in Ultima 2, the Revenge of the Enchantress. Now for the next portion of this Don't Panic video guide, what we're going to go ahead and talk about next is items, weapons and armor, and spells. So let's go ahead and start with the weapons. Let's do go over the weapons for Ultima 2, the Revenge of the Enchantress. And here we go. I'll add the agility and damage 2. Daggers, it requires 10 agility to use. Damage is 2. Maces is 11 agility, 4 damage. Axes is 19 agility. And of course, damage is 6. Bows is 21 agility. Damage is 8. Sword is 29 agility and 10 damage. Great sword is 31 agility and of course 12 damage. Light sword is 39 agility and 14 damage. Phaser is 41 agility and of course damage is 16. Quick blade is 49 agility, damage is 18. Very best in the game. It's a great end game weapon. You really need it. A special NPC sells this. You'll have to find out where on your own. So when you do start out, make sure you get a bow and sword. You have enough money, get a phaser. And then after that, go hunting for the quick blade. So let's go ahead and talk about armor next. For armor in Ultima 2, Here's the deal. You're going to need strength in order to equip armor. Great news is every single piece of armor can be bought in shops. Well, actually the armor shop, but still every single one of those. So let's go over it. Skin, that is 0 strength, 50% evasion. Yeah, you get this for free, everyone. Next up is cloth, which is 10 strength, 56% evasion. After that is leather armor, that's 11 strength is required to use, 63% evasion. Then there's chain armor, requires 19 strength with 69% evasion. After that is plate armor, this requires 21 strength with 75% evasion. Now next up is the reflect suit, 29% strength with 81% evasion. Last but not least is the power armor. Yes, there are power armor in this game. In other words, it would be Space Marines. Well, sort of. Now, power armor is 31 strength with 88% evasion. Now, please note that both reflect suit and power armor is required for space, and that intelligence plus charisma, when it's really up there, it does factor your discount. So make sure you're at 86 to 159 in intelligence plus charisma to buy certain armors very cheaper, especially the power armor and reflect suit later on in the game. That's it for armor. Next up is the items. Now, next up are items in Ultima 2. So I'm going to go ahead and not only list the items, what they do, but who drops them. First of all, blue tassels allowed to board ships. Really useful to have, everyone. Make sure you have a few of those. This way you have a ship. You go have some fun in it. Thieves drop these. That does include the one in the South Africa town in 1423 BC. So next up is Skull Key, allows to board an airplane. Thieves drop these, of course. Brass Button, allowed to launch an airplane. In other words, make it fly. Thieves drop these. Onks, allowed to board a space rocket. Thieves drop these. Trilithium. Now, here's the deal about this. Trilithium allows to launch a space rocket and hyperjump. That's two things they could do. Thieves drop these, except for one version, the Apple II version. No, you cannot get it from Thieves. Instead, you have to go into dungeons for that. Now, the other versions, it's also in dungeons too. I do advise farming Thieves for these, especially in that one South African town with the thief there when you first see him there. Next up are keys, allowed to open locked doors. Guards drop these. Be careful though. There are some guards that are invulnerable in the game. You know if they're invulnerable by them saying a certain phrase or something before you attack them. Next up are torches, allowed to ignite light in dungeons. Thieves and fire drop these. Helms allows to view map of current age. Thieves and fire drop these. So let's go ahead and talk about more items. Here are the last set of items for Ultima 2. Strange Coin, allowed to negate time. Thieves drop these. Tools prevent damage from traps in dungeons. Thieves drop these also. Wands, allowed to cast spells. Thieves and wizards drop these. Staff, allows to cast spells. Thieves and wizards drop these. Boots, reduce demon leg paralysis. Thieves drop these. Cloak, allowed to reduce devil arm paralysis. Thieves drop these. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about paralysis. Leg paralysis means you cannot move. Arm means you cannot attack. Green Idol allows to reduce Belrog's sleep. Great to have, just trust me. Thieves drop these. Last but not leastly is the gems, which is green, regular, and red. Slightly reduce more useful items being stolen. Thieves drop these. And the red ones, I heard they are sold at certain vendors. Last but not least, I forgot to mention is the ring. Very powerful item. That's all I'm going to say. You have to figure out what it does on your own. You want this item. That's all I'm going to say too. That you have to find on your own for the location of the ring. That's it for all items in Ultima 2. Next up is the spells. Next up for this guide are the spells for Ultima 2. Now in Ultima 1, the wizard class had a clear-cut advantage with 4 spells, but this time in Ultima 2, they lost that advantage thanks to the cleric, so I'll explain further. First of all is the light spell creates light in dungeons. Wizards and clerics both can use. Ladder down teleports down 1 floor. Wizard and clerics could definitely use that. Ladder up teleports up 1 floor. Wizards and clerics could definitely use that too. Pass wall destroys a dungeon wall. Cleric only spell. I'll probably say this is useful in case there's walls in dungeons. Next up is surface. Exit dungeons instantly. Cleric only. Extremely useful spell. You get to the very bottom of the dungeon, get those bars, and hit that spell to exit. Prayer instantly defeats a foe, cleric only. Good to have. Now, next up is Magic Missile, direct damage spell based on intelligence. Wizard only spell. Blink randomly teleports on the same floor. Why would you want to do that? You could teleport to a bad place. That's all I'm going to say. Wizard only spell. Kill instantly defeats a foe. Sometimes it does not work. Wizard only spell. So as for magic in this game, the cleric has the advantage this time. That is it for spells. Let's go ahead and do the next part of the guide we're going to talk about. In Ultima 2, The Revenge of the Enchantress, you'll be facing different foes throughout each of the time period thanks to Minax, the evil Enchantress. So here's the deal about combat. You want to do is hit the A button in the direction you want to attack. Sometimes you will not be able to hit, so if you keep on missing constantly, you want to do is move in a different direction and attack at a different angle. Now when foes do retreat, just hit the command spacebar button to skip time, make them come back to you. Now, here's the deal. Be careful. Some foes will sleep, paralyze you in the arm and the leg. So note that too. Watch out for thieves when you fight them in battle. They will steal items from you. So, for example, if you have only one blue tassel, they can steal that. So be careful on that. So you definitely want to keep on fighting for gold. Since gold, you definitely need an Ultima too. So definitely remember how to fight these foes. And if you're having trouble hitting them, move around and then attack at a different angle. So let's go ahead and talk about the next topic in this new player guide for Ultima 2. Let's talk about food, shall we? In Ultima 2, you must have food. You drop down to 0, yeah, your character dies. So here's the deal. When you're on land, the overworld, on a horse, yeah, food will be consumed. Now, if you're on a ship, rocket ship, or airplane, food will not consume. That's good to know. So you want to hit the S key to steal in order to get some easy food early on. Keep on stealing a few times, so this way you could get that food and get out of town safely. And just repeat the process until you have enough food. Now, don't steal too much because the guards will come after you. So just keep on stealing and that'll be no problem for food. Just remember, keep that food stocked at all times. And when you're close to 9999, stop getting food for a while then. That's it about food. Let's go ahead and talk about the next topic for this guide. In Ultima 1, you have to do was in that game was speak to a lord, give him penance in order to get some hit points or go through a dungeon. Unfortunately, that is not the case in Ultima 2. Instead, you have to visit Lord British or another lord. But for now, we're going to visit Lord British to get some hit points up. This costs 50 pieces of gold per hit point gain. Now up to 5k hit points, you get 300 hit points per 50 pieces of gold. That's really useful. Now later on you get around 5k to 7.5k 200, and then beyond 7.5k is 100 hit points per 50 pieces of gold. Make sure you have plenty of gold for doing this, so this way you have a whole bunch of hit points. You're going to need a lot of hit points in order to go out in certain parts of the game later on, especially end game. So save up that gold and use any method that you feel that you get a lot of gold. And if you have enough food, then go ahead and visit Lord British, donate some coin to him, and he'll give you some free hit points. So let's talk about the next topic of this guide, which is town and information. Also, the layout of this game via quests, as I'll give too. Towns in Ultima 2 does deliver a wealth of information. Now, there's one spot that has oracles in it, but that's a lot of gold to save up. That's really a lot, but still. Let me explain about towns. All you need to do is transact, talk to people. Some of them will give you clues on their location from a previous time era to very important clues. So make sure you get the very important clues and know who you need to talk to. Like, for example, this person talked about Hotel California. That's really important information there. You definitely want to talk to people when you enter a new town. See what information they do have so you can write it down. And one more thing, I'm going to go ahead and give a chart of quest goals you want to do in Ultima too, so this way you don't get confused at all. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and give you some quests and goal ideals in Ultima 2. Since talk to people does sometimes help, but it's not that really helpful for without a guide or so. So here's the deal. First goal you want to do is grind for gold to get enough food and hit points to survive. And if you get a blue tassel in between the grinding, yeah, you definitely want a ship. Once your food and gold situation is settled, you don't have a blue tassel yet or haven't found a ship, try to go for that item so this way you get a ship. Now, after getting initially 2k gold, 2.5k hit points, and 1k to 2k food, go to 1999 via Timegate to look for a hotel to gain stats. I'll reveal the name of that hotel throughout the guide later on, but still, after you gain some certain stats, make sure you have some gold back for that. After nearly maxing out stats set for intelligence and charisma, because you want those two equal to 159 at least the most, is to prepare to get items, get keys, get anything else you need, especially items for airplanes. Now, next up is get the rocket to go into space. It's at a certain time period. You know what that time period is when you enter it. Next goal is to, after you go into space, is to get a vital clue there. Not spoiling what, because I'll be holding your hand throughout the game, which you'll find it out on your own. And there is a certain time zone to tell you which planet you need to go to anyways. Get the quick blade and the vital item. Yeah, the vital item you get from the vital clue. As for the quick blade, let people discover that on their own. After you get the quick blade, the best weapons and armor, enough hit points or so, go after Min-Axe. Yeah, that I won't reveal the location. You have to find it out on your own. And that's it about talking about towns and goals/quests for Ultima 2. So next up on our list for Ultima 2 new player guide, what we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, Moongates, aka Timegates. In order to travel through time in Ultima 2, The Rise of the Enchantress, you have to use Moongates, aka Timegates. They appear at a certain set amount of time. You must make sure you go through them. Otherwise, you have to wait again for in order to go through the time gates. So I'm going to go ahead right now try to show you all in a demonstration on how these actually work. There you go. We found one. We are going to go ahead and transfer it there. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is go put out a nice chart of which the time gates and go from one location to another. So here's this chart. Here are the time gates. So first one is Legends area. First gate from left goes to Pangaea Age. That's the Proto-Greenland area. Second gate from left goes to 1423 BC in Europe. Third gate from the left goes to 1990 AD Great Britain. The fourth from the left goes to 2112 AD in Northwest America. So let's get to the next time period. Here are the Pangaea Age Moongates. So from your age at East Moongate, you go into that, you go to 1423 BC at Europe. Now from the Proto-Greenland, which is north part of this age Moongate, you enter that, you go to the Time of Legends. Now from the Proto-Africa, which is the center Moongate, if you enter that, you go to 2112 AD, which is Northwest America. Last but not least, from the Proto-Antarctica, which is south in this age, you enter that Moongate, you go to 1990 AD, Great Britain. So let's go ahead and get to the next age, which is 1423 BC. Let's go ahead and start with the 1423 BC Moongates. From Europe, when you enter that Moongate, you'll arrive at 1990 AD in Great Britain. Now, from South America Moongate, you arrive to 2112 AD in Northwest America. Now, if you enter the Asia Moongate, you arrive at the Pangaea era, which is in Eurasia. Now, last but not least, from North America Moongate, you'll arrive at the Time of Legends. So let's go ahead and do 1990 Moongate next. Here are the Moongates for 1990. From Great Britain in 1990, you enter that Moongate, you arrive at 1423 BC Europe. You've already seen that demonstrated quite a few times in this guide. Next up, from South America Moongate, you arrive at 2112 AD, which is at the northwest portion of America. Now, next up, if you enter the Greenland Moongate in this time era, you arrive at Pangaea at Eurasia. Now, last but not least, if you take this Moongate in Australia, you arrive at the Time of Legends. That's it for the 1990 Moongates. Let's go ahead and talk about the final time era Moongates. Last but not least is the 2112 AD Aftermath Moongate. Yeah, this is where after Min-X basically destroyed the world. Now, from the Northwest America Moongate, you enter that, you arrive at 1990 AD in South America. If you enter the Northeast America Moongate, you go from there to the Time of Legends. So be careful. Now, from the Asia Moongate, or whatever's left of it, unfortunately, you enter that Moongate, you arrive at 1423 BC in Europe. Last but not least, from India, or whatever's left of that country, thanks to Min-X, you enter that Moongate, you go to Pangaea Age, which is in Eurasia part of it. That is it for all the Moongates. Just remember to use my chart to figure out where you go from and also to your destination you want to go. So next part of this Don't Panic video guide for Ultima 2, what we're going to be talking about is, you guessed it briefly, dungeons. Next up for this guide we're going to talk about are the dungeons and towers. This is purely optional. Unless you're playing the Diablo 2 version, then you have to go through these. So anyways, for dungeons, in order to get to the lowest point, you have to go down. In order to get the highest point for towers, you have to go up. Now, these dungeons have these special bars you would definitely want in case you're going to do some serious space travel. Now, if you don't want to go through dungeons, then my advice is go to South Africa, that one nice town, and kill the thief many times as you want to in 1423 BC. That's it for dungeons and towers. Next part, I'm going to tell you all about how to farm gold in Ultima 2. There are two great ways to farm gold in Ultima 2, the Revenge of the Enchantress. The first way is to go into, you guessed it, 1423 BC by killing the thief in the village, which that village, by the way, is at South Africa. You just kill the thief, then after you kill the thief, you exit, and that's it. If there's guards nearby, try to exit. Just repeat the process until you get enough gold. Now, another way is much more safer is go ahead and use your ship and wipe out many foes as you can with the ship. All you need to do is just go to shore, blast the foes, and you get plenty of gold from them. Just remember the combat rules about positioning and more. And usually, if it's been a while since you used the ship, a lot of them will spawn, especially like these evil foes in Australia. And they can still paralyze you and such, but still, you get some good gold really quick. Now, if you are not strong enough for the thieves, then you have to do this quite a bit for a few hours or so to get enough gold. So this way you get your hit points, food, or your stats up when you're ready for that. So if you're using the ship to travel, make sure you have the blue tassels, quite a few of them. Then go around the world and annihilate foes like crazy on your ships. This way you get some easy money this method. Now, if you're strong enough, then go ahead and go to South Africa, enter that village, and annihilate the thief as many times as you want to. That's it for farming gold with a ship and more. Next topic we're going to talk about this Ultima 2 new player guide will be is how to boost up your stats. In Ultima 1, you get a request for example, Lord British to raise up your strength, or tap the signs for the other stats in Ultima 2. Well, guess what? That ain't going to work for this game. There's only one location you could do it. That's in 1990 at San Antonio, Texas. So make sure you go to Texas in that time period and look for the hotel called Hotel California. So let me go ahead and explain a few rules about that. First of all, you need to donate 100 pieces of gold when you hit the offer key. Now, if you donate the gold and you don't get the Shazam or something like that, or Alakazam, what happens is you will not get a stat increase. Now, if the other words come up, well, guess what? You get the stat increase, and it's random for this version, which I am playing on the PC MSS DOS version from goodoldgames.com. Now, the other versions in my did was is they make you select the stat you want to upgrade, or if you're using a player-made patch or something like that, yeah, they'll allow you to do that. A few words of warning: if you go over 99 on a stat, or it'll do a nice reset to 0, and you'll be weak. So be careful on that. So what I'm going to do is transact, hit offer gold, direction I'm going to do, and I'm going to do 100, and it says thank you very much. It did not work. So I'm going to show you once again what happens when I definitely go ahead and do this. I'm going to do the same thing, offer gold, direction, and then of course hit that. It's Alakazam. That means we got a stat increase. So we got some points in agility, I believe it was. So here's the deal. If you want to be really careful about stats, then go ahead and save before entering San Antonio, Texas. And then go ahead and do the offering of the gold to this cleric. And if you do this right, then you get your stat increase. After that, I'll go out of town, exit. Now, if you don't get the desired stat you want, or somehow it goes over 99, immediately hit Alt-Enter. If you play the PC MS-DOS version on DOSBox, hit the X. It will not save when that number rolls over or the stat you didn't want. So it's a little bit of save scumming, but you know what? It's a great way to get the desired stat you definitely want, even though it's random at times. And yeah, it's random, so don't panic at all. So definitely keep on trying until you get the desired stat you want to max out. And one more thing, make sure charisma and intelligence are around the 150 to 156 area. So for the next part of this guide, what we're going to be talking about is space travel, and also how to use DOSBox to your huge advantage. At some point in the game, you will have to go into space once you have the proper items to go to space, including plenty of those nice bars. You will have to definitely look for a certain location to get into space. Not showing the exact location, I am just showing the town. Now you need to do is get a shuttle, make sure you have plenty of keys. Also use a slow coin in order to go ahead and deal with the guards by stopping time. Now, as for space itself, when you do get into space, you have to type in 3 coordinates. A word of caution, do not do 0, 0, 0. That's the sun, you'll die instantly. Make sure you have a reflex suit or a power armor in order to go to space, or else you will die too, most likely. Now, here's the deal about space. Once you hit the right coordinates in, then you have to land. Make sure you land on the grass. That's why it put that bunch of command lines there. For example, you have to hit Control plus F11 to slow down your DOSBox. Reason being is if you played the original version like I was doing, well, guess what? The ship goes too fast and you can land, you can die. Yeah, it sucks, but you know what? We have this method of slowing down your PC via the DOSBox. So this way you can land safely. It also is the same thing if you land back on Earth too, by landing in the grass. So remember, make sure you have enough bars, then type in the coordinates, and then of course land safely, and then explore the area you need to explore for space. That's it briefly about space. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some final advice before I do end the guide. Here are some final advice before I do end Ultima 2, The Revenge of the Enchantress new player guide. So when you first start out, kill plenty of enemies for gold. So this way you buy some hit points at least, or food, or both. Now if you don't want to buy any food, then go to South Africa at that town and steal some food. And then when things start to heat up, exit the town and go back in, repeat the process until you get plenty of food too. Once you get your ship, go around the world to wipe out enemies. Once you get some very good items, also stats really up there, go to South Africa, that one town, and kill the thief there by just killing him once. Exit the town, then enter again. Just keep on repeating the process to farm the thief. Now, once everything's all right and maxed out, then farm some items. So this way you're ready to go ahead and beat the game from here on out. One more advice, have some serious fun. This is a really fun game. Well, everyone, this is it for my Don't Panic Ultima 2, The Revenge of the Enchantress new player video guide. This is Lord Fent signing off. Thank you for watching and have a great day or night, and do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern gaming content like this. If you like what you see, then pick my suggestion on the upper left hand corner or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left hand corner. Have a great day or night. Please stay safe. And oh, by the way, this boat ride is great.